Da, 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 da. Greetings, fellow test subjects. Test subject 1337 here for Aperture Gaming. They make it. We test it. You play it. And now it is time to blow off some steam, as Aperture Gaming is proud to present a boss review. This title originally released in May of this year, and it is of the fantasy genre. So, it has some pros, it has some cons, and a little bit of everything in between. So, what is this title? Well, let's get into the review, shall we?
Series.
The game that I am reviewing is Astor, Blade of the Monolith. And as far as I can tell, it is not a sequel, prequel, or in-between-quel. It is its own standalone story.
Team.
This game was developed by C2 Game Studio, and it was published by Versus Evil and Tiny Build.
Plot.
On an unknown planet, some unknown creatures discover an unknown location. You play as Astor. You and your friend are looking for a temple dedicated to the makers, the creators, the elders, those who came before. So then when you find this temple, Astor is then deemed the chosen one, as per usual. Astor must now go on a quest to try to find a way to stop the Hiltsick from, destroying the land, destroying the people. So it does have a the plot seems very like we've seen with all these other fantasy-based games. You're the chosen one, there's an evil in the land, and as you go forward, you learn a little more about the world around you and about the whole ancient tech that surrounds it.
Gameplay controls.
For the gameplay controls, first off, this game can be played with the dev team says that it is recommended that you play it with a controller, but it is possible to do it with keyboard and mouse. I played this game with both, and definitely prefer the controller. It's a third-person hack and slash platformer. So as you go throughout the world, you explore around. There's items you can interact with. There's enemies you can fight. There's items you can smash, and collectibles you can find to use to upgrade your abilities. Both combat and health, you can find powers to make yourself stronger, have your endurance last longer, and you can upgrade your powers. You also have the ability to open and look into an alternate universe, which helps benefit you. You can have a little spirit guide to tell you the best direction, so this way you can navigate. You can use a health gem to restore your health manually, and you can summon a mount to help you travel across the vast expanses of landscape. So you have a myriad of options to help you with combat, exploration, puzzle solving, and etc. And in this game, for reasons I can't quite put my finger on, it strongly reminds me of Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy.
Graphics.
The graphics, it's interesting. It's somewhat cartoonish, but also there's some areas of realism. So the characters, you can see the wood details on some of their masks and their peg legs. But for the enemies and other stuff, everything just has it's a weird balance between cartoon and realism, but it works. And the variety of colors is amazing. You can see, oh, this is a purple plant, so it says you can climb up on this. Or, welcome to the desert area. Welcome to the water area. Yeah, so the game uses the entire color palette.
Audio.
The audio, it has epic fantasy music to it. Oh, you're traveling around, but then when you do some stuff, it kind of gets an electronic sound, a game sound. So it's kind of a weird mix between the fantasy music and some science fiction sound effects, but the majority is basically enemies poofing into existence and the sound of combat, clang slash poof, you defeated the enemy. So the sounds work, but it's alright, but it's nothing memorable. It seems a little generic because I can't really think of any specific sound that the game provides. They do have if you time your deflection shield right, it makes a noise, but for me the definitive perfectly timed ricochet reflection sound was the shield used in the Captain America PlayStation game.
Multiplayer.
No, there is no multiplayer.
DLC.
No, there is no DLC.
Issues.
Okay, So like I said, it is recommended that you play with a controller. But here's the interesting thing. I had some issues with this game. First off, when I downloaded it and got installed on the system, the icon was labeled as prototype, not the official title. I tried launching the game, and it wouldn't work, so I had to uninstall it, get rid of the icon, and then reinstall it for it to properly work. Then, the first few times I fired up the game, the controller wasn't registering, so I had to play around with the mouse and keyboard. Then when I tried it again, it didn't work, so looking at the online Google search and the messages in the forum, I tried a few things and it actually worked. So yeah, kudos to the people who look around and ask about this. But yeah, so a couple of hiccups trying to get this thing up and running proper. When I was working with the keyboard, sometimes I'd be moving the mouse to try to look around, and then suddenly the camera would go from slow turn to do a sudden 180 turn jump. But aside from that, the audio is good, the game is playing, the enemies, yeah, it hits when it's supposed to. Yeah, but I was having a little trouble with the keyboard feature. They do recommend it to use a controller, so I can understand why that would be. The game needs a little spit and polish here and there in the control inputs area. But hopefully, this title came out in May, so I don't think it's in early access anymore, but hopefully they can get everything up and running proper. Yeah, I'm looking. Yeah, it is not in early access.
Buy, rent, or pass.
The game has a charm to it. It's weird, like it's weird how some of the characters, when they talk to you, how they use some modern day slang, and yet it's supposed to be like either the far off future, or it's supposed to be like some kind of hybrid of future / medieval fantasy past thing. It like Breath of the Wild / Tears of the Kingdom. You know what I mean. So yeah, I do like the game. I do think it was worth the money. It just was a little unnerving with the whole controller setup. But I like the way the game looks, the way it sounds, so I would definitely say this is a definitive buy.
Overall score.
Yeah, so there you have it. So yeah, it's a fantasy game, typical chosen one, big sword, and destiny, technology of the past, blah 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 words. Yeah, so it seems to be hitting all the earmarks for your typical fantasy setting. And like I said, the music and sound effects, nothing's really, sticking out, or music-wise, it's not sticking out for me, but it is an entertaining game, and if you can just figure out the control setup, then it works. I've played it, like I said, for both the keyboard input and the controller input, so either one works, but I highly recommend the controller setting for this one. So, some pros, some cons, and a little bit of in between, as I said, of everything. So we here at Aperture Gaming, we are proud to give Astor, Blade of the Monolith, a solid 9 out of 10. It can use a little fine tuning, but hey, what can't? Yeah, I guess that's the hard part about doing fantasy games these days. Everything is you're the chosen one, destiny, blah blah blah. And so like I said, it reminds me a little bit of Zelda, but mostly it kind of reminds. I'm getting Jack and Daxter: The Precursor Legacy vibes from it. So yeah, it works. Alright, well that's all the time we have for this episode. I'm glad we got a chance to blow off some steam with this B.O.S.S review. Until next time, this has been Test Subject 1337 for Aperture Gaming, saying thank you for watching, and game on. Have a nice day.